Have you ever wondered why some people seem to struggle financially their entire lives, no matter how hard they work? Why do some individuals always seem to be one step away from financial freedom, while others remain trapped in the same cycle of paycheck to paycheck living? The answer isn't always found in luck, opportunity, or even education. Sometimes, the real culprit lies deep within our own minds, in the psychological habits and behaviors that quietly sabotage our financial progress. In today's video, we're breaking down 5 powerful yet destructive habits that keep people poor, and more importantly, the psychology behind why they exist. These are not just surface-level mistakes like spending too much or not saving enough. These are patterns of thinking and decision-making that shape how people view money, success, and opportunity. If you truly want to break free from financial struggle and start building a mindset of growth and abundance, you need to understand these habits, because awareness is the first step toward transformation. Let's dive in. 1. Living for instant gratification. The first habit that keeps people poor is the tendency to chase instant gratification, the constant desire for quick pleasure or reward. Psychologically, this stems from what's known as present bias, where the brain prioritizes short-term satisfaction over long-term benefits. People who fall into this habit often spend money as soon as they earn it. They reward themselves for small wins or comfort themselves during stressful times through spending, whether it's on food, entertainment, or luxury items. The problem is, this pattern builds a mindset of consumption rather than creation. Instead of money being a tool for freedom, it becomes a tool for temporary emotional relief. Over time, the habit of choosing now over later quietly drains wealth-building opportunities and creates a cycle that's hard to break. 2. Avoiding financial discomfort. The second habit is avoiding financial discomfort. In other words, refusing to face money problems directly. Psychologically, this comes from avoidance coping, a mechanism where people ignore unpleasant situations rather than confront them. Many people don't track their spending because it's uncomfortable to see where their money actually goes. They don't budget because it reminds them of their financial limitations. They delay checking bills or debt balances because it triggers anxiety. But by avoiding that discomfort, they also avoid control. Financial growth requires facing the truth, even when it's ugly. Those who confront their finances, even imperfectly, begin to build awareness and discipline, while those who avoid it remain trapped in uncertainty and denial. 3. Depending on one source of income. Another habit that keeps people poor is relying on a single source of income. This is often driven by the psychological need for security and stability. Many people grow up believing that a steady job is the safest path, but in reality, it's one of the riskiest if it's your only stream of income. When your financial survival depends entirely on one paycheck, you're not in control, your employer is. If that income disappears, your entire life can collapse overnight. People who remain in this mindset tend to fear risk, not realizing that diversifying income isn't about taking wild chances. It's about creating safety through flexibility. The wealthy think differently. They see multiple income streams not as a luxury, but as a necessity. 4. Comparing instead of learning. The fourth habit is constantly comparing yourself to others instead of learning from them. Psychologically, this comes from social comparison theory, the tendency to evaluate our worth based on how we measure up to others. When people see others succeeding financially, they often respond with envy, resentment, or self-doubt. This leads to feelings of inadequacy and even self-sabotage. Instead of asking, "What can I learn from this person's success?" they think, "They're lucky," or "It's unfair." That mindset shuts down curiosity and keeps them trapped in stagnation. On the other hand, people who rise financially tend to study success objectively. They analyze what works, adapt it, and grow. They use comparison not to feel worse, but to fuel improvement. 5. Thinking small and playing safe. The final habit that keeps people poor is thinking small, believing that success is only for other people. Psychologically, this is tied to a fixed mindset, the belief that your abilities and circumstances are static and can't change. People with this mindset avoid opportunities because they fear failure or rejection. They stay in the comfort zone, even when it limits their potential. They don't start the business, they don't invest, and they don't take calculated risks. The wealthy, by contrast, operate from a growth mindset. They understand that every skill can be developed and every setback can be learned from. Thinking small keeps people safe, but it also keeps them broke. So let's bring it all together. The habits that keep people poor aren't just about money. They're about mindset, instant gratification, financial avoidance, dependence on a single income, unhealthy comparison, and small thinking are all reflections of deeper psychological patterns. The moment you begin to recognize these patterns within yourself, you gain the power to change them. Wealth doesn't begin with a bank account. It begins with belief, discipline, and awareness. True financial transformation is psychological before it's practical. When you change how you think about money, you naturally begin to change how you handle it. So ask yourself, which of these habits have been holding you back? And more importantly, which one will you start changing today? If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of success, money, and mindset. Remember, knowledge is potential power, but applied knowledge is freedom. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.